Hey guys, my name is Kendrick, and welcome to ENFP Mail. Today I get to interview Emma Clare. Did I say that right?
Yes, that's perfect.
And Emma, you said you live in European time? Like,
Yeah, I'm living in Spain at the moment. So
but
just for this year. But
you're not European then? Because
no, I'm American, yeah.
yeah, because you sounded like you had an American accent, and then I was like,
Yes.
oh, what the heck?
I'm
Like, so that kind of threw
Yeah.
me off a little bit when I saw your interview with Benjamin. I was like,
Oh yeah. Like
yeah,
it's a very weird accent, yeah.
yeah. I was like, was she American? Anyway, so like, um, so Emma, you're an ISFP.
Exactly.
But what is your op type and your animal stack breakdown?
So I'm FM, FISE, consume, play, sleep, and then blast last.
And what how did you feel and what did you think when you got your results back from Dave and Shan?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It clicked right away. The thing that clicked first was having, since I'm feminine FI, masculine TE, that clicked really fast when they explained it to me. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then when they explained SE to me the way that I would have it, it also clicked for me. Um, I didn't, and I, you know, the what was I it took me a while to really feel like I was actually that type, but I didn't think they were wrong right away. I just needed to like feel it myself first, and then I could be totally good with it. And now I feel pretty strongly that that's the exact right type. Um, but it was weird, and the people they gave me, it's one of those weird things where like I knew immediately. Well, here's what's also funny. I thought I was an INFP for a long time, but I should have known I wasn't an INFP because they always sound really cool to me. And ISFPs always sound like, ugh, whatever. So that probably was a sign the whole time, but because it's so much like me, that I, of course, wouldn't find it that interesting. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was my first reaction.
All right. And I think INFP and ISFP can sound quite similar,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
if they're like the standard type, right? So
Hmm.
because you have like SE second and
Yeah.
I third,
Hmm.
so NE and SE is both about gathering, right? Well,
Right. Yeah.
SI and NI is about like organize. So what
Right.
what was the biggest difference for you? Like with SE being your method of gathering facts
Yeah.
versus like
Versus any.
yeah versus NE.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird to kind of describe, but I mean, I guess that I feel like I do collect like sensory things in that I like to, I love Pinterest. I love just hoarding all these images on my computer. I love hoarding songs. I'm a hoarder kind of in general with things. I have a hard time letting go of like physical objects. Um, I like things for their aesthetic reasons, and I go out seeking aesthetics first, I guess, which I didn't like think I did before until I started analyzing myself through this type. But yeah, I mean, I care a lot about the way things, and like I don't really, it's because I don't like care much about how I look all the time, but I do appreciate the way things look. You know what I mean? Like I'm not super anal about making things look perfect, but I do appreciate nice things. And I think that's
Yeah,
where my SE comes in. And also because I don't really understand any that well. And I think that's for me what really makes it clear is that I'm like, ugh, how do you gather ideas? You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't understand. And I
right.
don't, and I also, because the idea of having all these ideas in your head at once is extremely, when I thought about it, I'm like, oh, I would hate that all the time. I always like to kind of find the best one, and I like to throw the other ones away. I don't like to feel like it feels too chaotic to have too many theories bouncing around. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. I guess I can see what you mean. So is that why you have NI then as opposed to SI?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, I like to kind of, and I also have masculine NI, so that's also I guess part of it that I really do like to. I really want to have that end goal, and I'm always working towards finding an end goal. I think, and yeah, yeah. Does that make sense? I don't
Yeah, no, no,
know.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Um, because I was just kind of like thinking like a lot of like the INFPs that I know
yeah.
are really good at writing, and
Hmm.
they tend to create like very vast spider web like
Mm-hmm.
story detail, like a character is linked
Right.
to this character somehow, and this
Yeah.
character is like kind of like Game of Thrones, everyone's kind of linked
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Love it.
that's kind of like more for like an NE kind of thing, where like through
Yeah.
you're linking, kind of like using your FI
Right.
kind of creates the character, right? Like,
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. You
yeah,
can make a whole person with FI because, yeah,
exactly, yeah, you can
you
create
understand that depth.
exactly, you can
Yeah.
create like
Yeah.
exactly how they think, how they feel, how they behave,
Right.
and then you
Yeah.
use, like the NE to kind of like connect the story together, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah. So like when I like am like daydreaming or something or making my own kind of fictional story in my head just to like pass the time or whatever,
yeah,
it's grounded much more in like it's not as like crazy fantastical as I imagine any kind of thing would be. It's
yeah.
more of like stories happen, but it is, as you said, like centered more on like a smaller group of people. And it's also it's I spent a lot of time thinking about like the not just the way the world functions, but the way that it looks. I like to think about the way that the like physical world all fits together and how they would then work in that world
Gotcha.
versus making a world based on a theory, which I think NE would do. They would make a world based on like Game of Thrones, basing it on like a theory of like how the world works and how all these intertwining stories all reflect that overall meaning, which
Yeah,
also is having an intuition first, I suppose. Also,
right.
you'd be able to do that better. So yeah,
Yeah, no,
and I admire that hard. That's so cool.
yeah, yeah. I think it's more fantasy based than like they like to
Yeah,
create a fantasy story versus like more realistic based.
right.
Yeah, because
And I love consuming fantasy stories, but
yeah,
making them is a lot harder for me.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, ugh, I'm so bad at it.
I work in the fitness industry, and I had a client
Yeah.
once who was an ISFP.
Mhm.
He was the only ISFP client I've ever had. Like he was to
Mm.
me, he felt like he was obviously an ISFP, and he was very
Yeah.
big into like film also. But it was kind of like
Yeah.
the way you described it. He was more
Yeah.
realistic. It was very
Yeah.
realistic, and he really liked creating like dark films, like really dark.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love dark
Like
film.
like that movie Memento.
Yeah, I love Memento.
Yeah. That's kind of the style that he likes to make. Like there's like a
Yeah.
mystery underlying the mystery.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
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 So so that's
Yeah.
kind of how I saw the difference between like an ISFP
Yeah.
creating like a story versus like an INFP who would create a story with like
Yeah.
dragons and like
Totally.
magic,
Yes.
Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah,
Totally. Yeah. I feel that. Yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 That's super cool. Um,
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah, weird. That's so funny. Yeah.
yeah. Let's talk about your let's jump into your demons real quick. So,
Okay. Yeah.
you have TE as your fourth function. So
Yes.
do you
Yeah.
ever get issues with the tribe or tribe getting upset at you as a result of having that like class?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, especially when I was younger, I could notice it more in that I wanted to stay in my shell more, and people would get mad that I wasn't more sociable, right? But as I've gotten older and gotten better at my play energy, the sociability part is less obvious. And what's more obvious is that I'm just not good at anticipating what people need from me and what they want from me. And I really noticed that recently. And I'm also just really scared all the time of what people are going to say, think, or do if I do anything, and I'm very scared of really putting myself like out there. So like doing these interviews has been like really, I've had to kind of just like push myself into them because I don't feel comfortable putting myself out there. And this one-on-one is much easier. I did a thrill interview on Binyamin's channel,
Yeah.
and oh my God, it was like too much. I couldn't do it. I have a very hard time with like any kind of actual like, tribe sort of thing happening. I just immediately, two people, I'm like, oh my God, they're going to hate me,
So one-on-one is okay, but
One-on-one is better.
the moment there's more than like it's just you and another person, then
It starts to feel, I mean, one-on-one is still like a little bit like, ooh, but it's easier to get over that hill, obviously, but once you start adding more people, it's hard.
And why do you think they would hate you if there was like more than one person?
It's totally irrational, but it's just like a worry that I'm going to be so weird and different from the norm that they're going to be like, LOL, look at this girl over here. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna immediately like have this like link between them and see that I don't belong. You know?
You
It's
know,
weird and it doesn't make sense. And everyone's different and everyone has their own thing going on. But it is this irrational fear that I have to try and get over.
but you know what? I think if the
Mm,
person's like a double decider, I don't think they would think you're
mhm.
weird.
Oh,
But
totally.
but if they're like an EJ, I could see
Mm,
potentially that like
right.
this person is not meshing with the vibe of the group because this person is like
Right.
kind of in their own world and that kind of like
Right.
breaks like the vibe of the group. But
Yeah.
but then the weird thing is that I find that EJs and IPs really like each other. So that's kind of like there's
Oh
a
yeah.
that so even though they
Yeah.
might break the vibe, they still like you. So it's like weird, right? Like
Right.
so how does that
Right.
work?
Well, because the ED is always trying to make their tribe, right? They're interested in like expanding their tribe also, I think,
Yeah.
generally speaking. So and the IP like has that secret. I mean, everyone has the need of having a tribe. And when you have one person who's like immediately welcoming you in, which EJs tend to do pretty well,
Yeah.
then you immediately are like, oh my God, I love you. You know, like, oh, you immediately make me feel good. And I find that when I have EJ friends, immediately, like if we click right away, it's great. And then it's bad after a while because you start to realize how different you are. And you
Yeah.
have to work through that if you're going to stay friends. But sometimes it falls apart because you can't find that middle ground because you're so different.
You know
You know?
what? I like whatever you just said right now, like makes
Mm,
perfect sense to me because like
mm,
I travel a lot, and
mm.
at one point I was backpacking and I met
Ooh.
I made friends with I was in Colombia and I met
Oh,
I became friends with this one IP girl who I
mm,
think was an INFP, and then
mhm.
her friend that she was backpacking with was an EJ. I think she was an
Uh-huh.
EJ.
Okay.
But then like at some point, like they actually met in Colombia, but at like some
Yeah.
point in their so they were traveling together because when they met, they automatically click, right? Like they were like the best of
Yeah.
the house.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then, like at some point, the EJ friend was talking to me one on one. Like just
Mhm.
she wasn't there. She was telling me, you know, I feel like the vibe between me and her, it's like something's off, and I think
Mhm.
this is like the time when we are gonna split apart. You know,
Yeah.
but then when you talk to the IP friend, the IP is not even thinking about that at all. Like
Right. Yeah.
she's just thinking it's like, oh, I think it's time for me to go back home to my home country.
Right.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
there's like a
Totally.
definitely big like
Yeah.
they both imagine the situation completely differently, and I'm just
Totally. Yeah.
yeah.
And part of it, and it's probably part of that thing where the IP is accidentally taking advantage of that TE or that DE giving constantly. And so the person who's DE might start to realize that they're giving more than the IP is. And that could be causing friction. You know what I mean? And like I feel like that's pretty classic. You know, the NIP is like, oh, this is great. I don't feel like I need to, they don't, you don't necessarily recognize you need to give that you're not meeting what they're giving. Do you know what it's not on your radar.
Well, I just remember the EJ saying, oh, this her friend is
Yeah.
becoming more withdrawn, right? But then
Yeah.
but then when she said
Also true.
but when she said that, I was just thinking to myself, well, yeah, obviously she's an introvert. She needs more
Yeah.
time to
Yeah.
herself. She can't always be
Right.
a positive vibe, right? She'll
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah, she'll be in a positive vibe again later on, but like she
Right.
needs time for herself for now, So
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
so I kind of see it kind of like very fascinating that like
It's opposite needs. Yeah. One
yeah, yeah.
person needs to, yeah, yeah.
But
So yeah, it just makes sense. Yeah.
like I see the problem kind of like they're not respecting each other's needs almost. Like
Or understanding each other's needs, right?
yes, yes.
They're not really taking the time to like look at the other person like, oh, why are they doing that? Right? They're both thinking about themselves in that instance and like, well, everyone should be cool and extrovert. Everyone should be fine with being alone all the time. But sometimes you need to move a little more.
Like the
You
way I
know?
saw like the way I saw it was like the
Yeah.
IP maybe should have said to the EJ friend, hey, I'm feeling a little bit like withdrawn right now. Don't take it
Yeah.
personally. Just like
Totally.
it's not you, because I think a lot of EJs
Right.
think something's wrong with them. That's why they're being avoided.
Absolutely.
But maybe say like, it's not you. I just need time for myself, but I'll be cool again in this like next few days.
Yeah.
So
Right.
let's just do our own thing for like the next few days, and then we'll come back together. And
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Be
I think
upfront.
yeah, it's like because I noticed that with my IP friends too, right? They'll like ghost me out
Yeah.
of nowhere, and then
Yeah.
like
Guilty. Yeah.
I won't hear from them for like a year,
Hmm.
and
Oh
then
yeah.
I'm like, you know what, it would help. It would be nice if you like just told me you're gonna disappear for a year.
Yeah.
I'm actually cool with
Yeah.
you disappearing for a year,
Yeah.
just let us
Uh-huh.
know where you are, just don't disappear off the place of the earth.
Yeah, I know. It's hard not to, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it is one of
But
those things.
can you talk about that? Like, why do you guys ghost people? Like, that's very
Well, I think it's a combination of being an IP who's like a DI and also an OE thing happening there, because you're not planning, you're not trying to control your own life, so you aren't controlling when you're going to see people or whatever. You kind of go with the moment, or I go with the moment. So
right.
sometimes it just happens out of nowhere. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't talked to anyone in like a month, or I haven't talked to my friend in like months, and I don't even realize it because I'm not tracking that. I'm not tracking that social interaction in my mind. So when I realize it, I'm like, oh, it's been a long time. I'm just not thinking about it. It just kind of happens. It's not like I don't realize I need like a year away or something, or that I'm even going to be capable of spending a year away. It just happens, and then it's like, oh shit. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. And it doesn't always, and also the thing with disappearing, I don't find that it happens because sometimes it does happen because you're tired of being around someone. You're like, I need a break for like a week at least, and it turns into longer. But sometimes it's just like something else catches your interest, like, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be another person, it could be another like situation, and you just kind of get engrossed in that for a while.
Yeah.
And then you like wake up and like, oh, I'm leaving behind all these other important parts of my life. That's how it works for me when I do that.
So you see something shiny and you kind of start chasing that new shiny thing.
Exactly.
But like,
Yeah.
when you start obsessing over this new person or this new thing or this
Yeah.
situation, do you feel like you
Mhm.
tunnel vision on it, and do you
Yeah.
you completely forget about everyone else, or do you still have
Kind of.
your friends kind of like the back of your mind? Like, how does that work for you? Like,
I kind of forget about everything else. But and like, yeah, I kind of do forget about stuff.
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it's there in the subconscious, but in like the front part of my mind, like it's not there. I'm thinking about myself and my
yeah,
interests.
yeah.
Yeah,
But like,
it sounds very bad.
no, it's okay, it's okay. No, it's 100% cool. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, that's who you are, right? So it's fine. But
Yeah.
like, um, no, because I'm more trying to understand like how you guys think, right? Like,
Right.
so if let's say you're obsessed over this like new person or this new thing or
Hmm.
this situation, and what if your
Yeah.
older friends like message you
Hmm.
or calls you,
Hmm.
would that
Oh,
break you out of the trance, or would you still kind of like forget,
yeah. It would
avoid?
break me out. Yeah, 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 yeah. It would break me out for like a minute. But if I'm really engrossed, I'm gonna be like kind of annoyed that they're trying to make me hang out with them. But I'll hang out with them, or I'll do whatever they want me to do, and then I'll be like, okay, time's up, time to go, and I'll pop back to what I'm obsessed with until I feel. This is also maybe the NI thing where I want to finish it till it's at the end, and then I can have free time to see what you want.
Yeah,
But I kind of do get a one track mind kind of thing happening.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
This is I kind of figured that out. I figured that
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
have, you know what, I absolutely love IPs. IPs are my favorite people. They're my favorite people in the world. Like, like, no offense to the other types, but like the people I've always enjoyed hanging out with the most have always been IPs.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, that's so nice.
a lot of like EJs and IJs are
Hmm.
getting upset at me now, but like just
Oh.
I'm not, this is just my personal experience. I have,
Right.
yeah, I have tons of friends from other types, but just like
Oh yeah.
I just find myself, I enjoy myself when I'm with IPs. So I want to talk about feminine FI because I think this is
Hmm.
the most fascinating thing I've ever heard in in
Mm.
my life.
Yeah.
And like, I saw part of your interview with Benjamin, and you kind
Yeah.
of talked about it. But like,
Yeah.
I've heard my other friends who has
Yeah.
feminine FI say the exact same thing.
Oh.
And
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
this is what they said.
Yeah.
The last person that they spoke to, their
Hmm.
opinion is what
Yeah.
they see as true. So if they
Yeah.
speak to someone and the person tells them this
Yeah.
is like what's real about the world and this is like how
Yeah.
you do stuff, and they're like, okay, so this is how you do stuff. And then the
Hmm.
next day they'll talk to someone and the person has a completely different opinion. They'll be like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, then that's the new stuff and this is how
Hmm.
you do stuff. And then I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, I'm like, why do you keep like changing what's true when like
Right.
just based on the person that you spoke to, like
Yeah.
the last person that you spoke to. And I've had more
Yeah.
than one IP tell me this, especially
Oh
was
yeah.
FI.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel like this happens to you?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I feel like what happens is that especially if it's, I mean, I find it happens most when it's someone that I like, well, first of all, the people that are in your social group are usually smaller if you're an IP. The people that you have in the social group are people that you already like think are very smart or normal, know more about things than you do, and you want them in your life for a reason, right? So if they say something to me, like if I watch like one of my favorite, like, I don't know, like late night hosts or something, and they say something, I'll be like, oh my God. And then I'll like believe them face value. I'll probably do like my own like little bit of research about it just to make sure I really believe it. But yeah, when I'm with someone like in a conversation and they say something, especially if it's like emotionally related, yeah, I'm with them all the way. And yeah, and I think that's also because I have a lack of double deciding that I'll just kind of go all in on that one person. I'll be like, oh, you're so right, so and so, they were so mean to you, and like, I'm totally there with them. And like if I get a step back, I'm like, oh, that was kind of like, maybe she wasn't in the right there. Maybe the other person was actually right. I just told her she was right, and actually she wasn't. But in the moment, I'm with people all the way, which can seem, yeah. So, it's weird though, because an IP, I think, should be very like, I think what I think, and no one's going to touch that, and I'm
But
not always like that.
I think that's more like the masculine FI, but like
Totally is.
I think people with feminine FI is like a blast to hang out with, because like they're always like they're just like go with the flow, right? Like,
oh yeah,
like their
yeah,
favorite saying is like what you just said, like, oh, that's so true. Oh, you're so right.
yeah.
Like,
I say it all the time. Yeah.
like that's true. You know, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I agree with people very easily. Yeah.
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 So one of my good friends, he's an IP. He's missing right now because he has his
Okay.
girlfriend, and
Oh.
and like I tried
Okay.
making plans with him several times, and he just
Yeah.
disappeared off the face of the planet. I'm like,
Oh.
okay, you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I'll let him, finish his honeymoon phase, and then he'll be back.
Yes. Good
Um,
call.
so like, but then we used to have like this conversation where like, okay, what kind of lifestyle would you like to have? Would you like to have your own
Mm,
business, or would you like to have like a
mm,
9 to 5 job? And then he would like, if he would be talking to me or other people who's
yeah.
more interested in business, he would be like, yeah, definitely having a business is what I want. And then
Yeah.
later on, he'll talk to someone who likes the more traditional 9 to 5 kind of lifestyle with kind of like,
Yeah.
more sense of
Right.
security,
Yeah.
stability. And he's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I want. And then he'll actually tell me later, he's like, you know what? You know what's really weird? It's like when I talk to those people, I want what they want, but then when I talk to you, I
Yeah.
want what you want. And now like
Hmm.
I'm confused which one I want. And then
Yeah.
it's like he's like they all sound really good, So I don't know.
Yeah. I feel that too. I also find though that I do that sometimes because I talked about this in another video with I don't, it was either on the last group or somewhere, but where I don't like to talk about my plans with people.
Yeah.
So sometimes what I do is I will make a plan for someone I'm talking to so that they think I'm okay. I'll be like, oh, I want to do this and this, because I know they're going to be like, oh, that's so great, you know. And I'll do it in very vague terms so that I can get out of it easily when I finally do make a decision. That they won't be like, oh, why did she tell me that lie,
Well, how come you don't like to tell your plans to other people?
I have no idea. Again, I'm scared that they're gonna be like, you're stupid and that's a dumb plan with the demon DE. But I guess that's probably what it is. I don't know, but I don't like, and I also don't like giving myself I don't like making a plan. I kind of like making a plan as I go along. Like I like having like a general direction in mind, but I don't like really being firm about stuff,
Um,
especially not with other people.
is it because like you're trying to protect that feminine FI? Because the feminine FI is more sensitive,
I
right?
think so. Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't want people to think that what I value is dumb
Yeah.
or, not worthwhile. So if I share with them what my plans are, that's showing them who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want them to be like, well, that doesn't really make any sense. Cause I'm like, oh, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but this is what I want.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you have any like close friends that you feel comfortable telling them about your plans? Like they're not gonna judge you or anything?
The only person that I tell anything to that's very true is my little sister.
Oh,
And I have a few like very close friends, but I wouldn't even tell them. I wouldn't tell them any real plans.
I see. But then your sister, you're okay with it.
Yeah, but even with her, I have to go about it like very like awkwardly and like, oh hey, so
Yeah.
and like kind of prime her first and then jump in.
How does
But
she respond to you when you tell her your plans usually? Is she very like
oh,
non-judgmental
she's
about it?
super supportive, super non-judgmental. Yeah. And also, it's that she's the little sister. So since I'm older, she kind of she's been like groomed that way to be like,
Oh,
oh yeah,
I
great
see.
plan.
I see.
It's
That's so
terrible.
funny.
I'm not really getting any tribe ping back or anything.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to get. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. What do you think your sister type is?
I find it so hard to type my family members. I don't know if anyone else feels like that, but I've seen her as like every single type possible.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm thinking that she has high FE. And I think I think she's a double decider. And I'm pretty sure that she is lead SI. But I'm not sure at all. I really do find it hard to type them, and I don't know what that's about. I just see them all as all the functions all the time. I can't narrow it down.
I think the most important thing is like figuring out, like, you don't need to have the exact letters or exact breakdown,
Right.
but like just to figure
Right.
out, are they an EP or IJ or
Right.
IP or EP? Because like if you know that, like you're already ahead, right? Like you could like
Totally.
you know what they value
You
already.
get the skeleton out there, and you can get the little parts later. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least you know what they value, right? Like, okay, this person is freaking out over control, so this person must be an EP person. So what does your sister freak out about?
Well, that's the thing. She doesn't freak about anything. I don't know it's so hard to find things she freaks out about. She does not freak out about people. So I'm pretty sure that she cannot. She's a double decider. I'm almost positive. She's never she kind of complains about people, but like not really, not in the way that I do. Like I complain about people all the time. That's all I talk about. It's people, and she does not do that. But she doesn't really freak out about things being too chaotic, and she doesn't freak out about things being too controlled either. So I can't quite figure out what her vibe is. I'm thinking she must be a glass lady of some kind, because I think she must I feel like she's probably savior control and then has consume and play or something right after. So, she's very confusing to me. My other family members I'm a little bit better on. Like I can see my older sister is an IJ, my mom is an IP, and my dad is an IJ. So
your mom is an IP?
Yes. And here's also hard. She's almost definitely an IP. I'm like 90% sure she's an IP. And I think that we are very similar types. Like very similar. And so but it's so hard because it's so hard to see yourself also. And if she's like one function off or something, or one animal off, which I think she is, I just it's when they're too close to, it's also hard when they're too close in type and in proximity. It's difficult to type people. Yeah.
I find that so fascinating with IPs, how you guys get so mad about people, one of my boss at because I work in the fitness industry, and my boss is an IP, right? I don't have a single
weird.
I noticed that every time I work with him, like I'll be helping him with something, like let's say putting away like fitness equipment. He'll be going in a massive rage talking like about people, right? This group instructors, they're a bunch of idiots. Don't they know responsibility? Don't they clean up after themselves? And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, that's not a big deal, man. Like,
like chill out. Yeah.
Like, yes, it is a big deal. It's like getting mad at me. I'm like,
I know.
I don't think it's a big deal. Like,
no, it's that's like very much like my biggest like weird thing is I'm just super weird about people all the time. And all I can think about is how mad I am at people, or how I'm constantly worried about other people. Like, I'm like, oh, they hate me or I hate them. It's one of those two all the time. That's what I'm talking about. So, it's very predictable what I'm going to come talk to you about all the time.
So fascinating. Let's talk about you being a double observer. So you have a relative balance between chaos and control then. With that right?
Yeah.
Can you give an example of like how that relative balance kind of plays out in your life?
Well, I mean, I feel like I am pretty adaptable in like situations. I mean, if I get thrown into a situation, I can kind of figure out, what to do in the moment a little bit easier than maybe if you were like I don't freak out if if something new gets thrown into my plan. Like if I have a plan like, planned out or whatever. And like, there's something new that comes along. I'm like, okay, I'll just, move this around a little bit and it's going to be fine. I might get annoyed that my plan isn't, if I have like got really attached to my plan, I might get annoyed that it's not going to be exactly the plan that I wanted, but I can see how this new thing is going to fit into my plan.
What
I
about
can, I, yeah.
what about control then? Like, let's say
Mm-hmm.
in your new job,
Yeah.
you have a new boss, and
Mm-hmm.
they are now, putting together a new policy that is
Mm-hmm.
more restrictive than your
Mm-hmm.
previous policy. Do you think you can go with the flow with that new policy without a problem?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I might get annoyed later along the road, but initially also because I've got that feminine FI thing, I feel pretty easy just being like, oh, okay, that's my new reality. And then I just kind of, go with it. And, yeah.
What
And until I see a problem arise, I'm not going to start complaining.
Because the reason why I'm asking is because you have
Yeah.
Savior SE also, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that means your NI is a demon. So
Yeah.
you do have demon control. So there's like
Yeah.
it's not as bad as your TE. It's like
Right.
it's like a mini demon. But so if someone's trying to control you, does that upset you then?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like if someone's like specifically trying to control me, I'm like, please don't do that. And I see demon control come up in that I don't like to control my own life. I like to keep options open,
Yes.
like in terms of like where I'm going in my life, right? I don't like to box myself in right away. And I also don't like to, I'm just in general don't like to box myself in. But if everyone is being controlled, I'm less freaked out about it. But if someone is coming after me specifically and is like, you need to do this, then I'm like, hop off, like this is my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I feel like personally being controlled, then I might get a little bit.
Okay. So to me it sounds like you don't like to lock yourself in
Mm-hmm.
a specific path towards the future.
Right. Until I feel very, 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 very sure that that's what I want and what I need.
Right.
And I'm not sure I'll ever really feel that.
Yeah,
But if I ever do get there,
yeah, that's
then
what I was
I'll
thinking.
be,
I'm like, okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when that happens, you're okay.
Right.
But the
In the
question
fictional universe when that happens,
is, yeah,
I'll be cool. Yeah.
yeah, Game of Thrones. Um, so I heard that people who are double observers, according to David Shen,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
have problems with pain. So
Oh.
double deciders have problems with fear, and they tend to be
Oh
scared by a
yeah.
lot of things, while double
Oh
observers.
yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Like I know,
Okay.
I'll give you two examples. So I'll give you an
Yeah.
IP example and an EJ
Okay.
example. So
Oh
I, I,
please.
I did an interview with an IP, an
Okay.
INFP, I think a while back, and he said he's extremely afraid of emotional pain. So basically, what would happen is, let's say he likes a girl,
Mm-hmm.
and he needs to go talk to her and ask her out.
Mm-hmm.
He's afraid of like the actual conversation where the
Yeah.
girl would reject him because he wouldn't be able to handle the emotional pain of being rejected. While
Mm-hmm.
someone that is like a double decider, like I am,
Yeah.
I'm more afraid of like let's say I find someone attractive and I want to ask them
Yeah.
out. I
Yeah.
find it more scary to do that, to approach them than to actually like hear them reject me. Because if they reject me, I'm actually
Oh.
okay with it. Like it
Oh.
doesn't actually hurt me that much when I get rejected. It's like the thought of approaching them that freaks me out, right? Like that.
Whoa, that's fascinating.
So
Yeah.
it's a little bit different from him because him it's as a
Yeah.
double observer, he's afraid
Right.
of the actual rejection, the act of rejection.
Yeah.
Well, for me,
Right. Yeah. Same.
the thought of approaching is the fear.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and I'll give you another example from another double observer. So the other
Okay.
double observer that I've seen is
Yeah.
scared to work out because they don't like being sore afterwards because it's painful. They don't want to
Oh.
work out because they'll be sore. And
Huh.
I've had an IP client say the same thing to me too. It's like, don't let me be too sore because I'm a personal trainer, right? I'm going to be
Huh.
sore the next day. I'm going to walk funny. I don't like the feeling of soreness, right? And I'm
Oh.
thinking to myself, I'm
Yeah.
like, weird, because a lot of EPs and IJs love being sore because they feel like they've
Yeah.
got a good workout in if they're sore, right?
Right. Yeah.
So can you? So one is more physical pain, one is emotional. So now
Right.
that I have those examples presented to
Mm-hmm.
you, what do you think about your own life? Do you feel like
Oh
you try
yeah.
to avoid pain,
Oh well, that's yes, definitely all the time.
like
Yeah.
emotionally or physically though?
No,
Oh,
emotional pain all the time. Yeah, I'm always worried that I'm gonna start crying in some situation if I think it's gonna be too stressful, or I'm worried I'm gonna have like some kind of like anxiety thing where I'm gonna be like, so embarrassed. I get embarrassed really easily, so I'm always scared of getting embarrassed, and then the embarrassment's gonna make me cry. And I'm also scared of, yeah, I guess that's what I'm scared of. I'm scared of being sad in front of people, especially. But yeah, emotional pain, getting hurt by anyone, even making like, yes, romantic things, but also just like making friends. I'm like scared of any kind of rejection at all. Yeah, because
are, are,
it's gonna make me feel really bad about myself. I'm gonna feel like, oh my god, everyone hates me and I'm a bad person if one person rejects me.
oh, I see, I see. So
Yeah.
is it the thought that scares you, or is it the act? Like if like, have you felt that before and it hurt you so much, or?
Um, well, yeah, I guess not really. It's just kind of like the idea of it is what
Right.
the idea of the emotional pain is scary enough for me to stay away. And it's not, yeah, I guess it's like the effect of the act that I'm scared of. The,
Oh,
the way that I'm scared of the way that I'm gonna feel, you know, I'm scared of, yeah, I'm scared of feeling that. It's weird because I will purposefully watch like a sad movie because I know that I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna want to cry there. But if someone else is, because I guess if what I want is not to cry, I'm scared of, yeah. I guess that's what it is. I don't want to cry, so I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm not making any sense. But yeah, I'm scared of people hurting me
yeah.
emotionally.
No, no, it does make sense. What about
Yeah.
physical? What about physical pain? Do you
Yeah.
avoid like physical pain, like exercising, or like, or
No, not because of physical pain or anything. And I actually, now that you've mentioned it, I thought of my sister, and she once said, she was like, we were talking about what she was gonna like do dance, and she was like, "Oh, I'd like to dance, but am I gonna have to sweat?" And I was like, "What?" But yeah, so maybe she is actually a double decider then, if she's more scared of that physical act of sweating or whatever. She doesn't
Well, I
want to do
mean,
it.
no, I mean, because like the
Yeah,
example I gave you for the
yeah.
act of
The pain.
physical pain was an EJ actually.
Hmm. Oh, it
So
was an EJ.
yeah, it's an EJ.
Oh.
He's still a double observer,
Oh,
but
so they weren't scared of emotional stuff then.
well, I mean, it's not that they weren't, just the one that I've
But
seen.
that wasn't their main, like that wasn't like what they thought of when they thought of like the time they've been most.
Well, the person was an ESTJ, so I don't know if it's different if
No.
it's an ESFJ, but
Who knows? Yeah, maybe.
I
Yeah.
did interview an ESFJ a while back who also said
Yeah.
it doesn't work out because she doesn't like the pain of the exercise. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
there seems to be like, I mean, it's such a small sample
Yeah.
size, right? It's like two EJs, right? That said that
Right.
you don't like to exercise because they don't like to feel sore after. So
Right.
so what about you though? Like, do you?
No, yeah. I don't feel like I'm scared of like physical pain at all. That's not something that's on my mind. I mean, like the reason I'm not working out is because I'm lazy, not
Yeah,
because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like be sore. I don't mind. I almost kind of like the feeling of having those sore muscles next and having to stretch them out. It feels good.
yeah.
But that's also maybe because when I was younger, I played, a lot of sports and I would feel it a lot. So it brings back good memories or something. That's possible.
Oh, I see, I see.
But that could be what it is. But I'm not scared of that. And I also I think I have a pretty low pain or high pain threshold. So maybe that's also related. But I don't feel pain that easily. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't
Okay. Makes sense.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did meet a lot of IPs who are
Yeah.
really into fitness. Like my buddy
Mm,
who disappeared right now because he has a new
yeah.
girlfriend.
Mm,
He was a personal trainer for a long time and he was really fit, right?
mhm.
So,
Yeah.
so I don't think the physical pain might not be, maybe not for IPs, maybe for more of an
Yeah.
EJ thing. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Could totally be. I
Like,
don't know. Yeah.
I don't want to make an assumption, but that's so far what I've seen so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never met an IP avoiding physical pain. They avoid more
No. Yeah.
emotional pain.
Hmm.
While EJs is more avoiding physical pain. So I
Yeah.
don't
That
know.
rings true for me.
So
Yeah.
I don't know like if there's any correlation, if that's just like something that I guess by coincidence, you know?
Yeah. I wonder. Yeah. Yeah. It'd be cool to see more people say what they think, and that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So so you have blast last, right?
Yes, I have
And
less.
the interesting thing about your blast last is that your blast last
Yeah.
is double masculine. So
Yes.
um
Yeah.
So does that mean when you get really upset at
Mm-hmm.
somebody and you start
Mm-hmm.
lecturing them, does it come across as like
Mm-hmm.
super powerful, like hawk-like?
Yeah, it's bitchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mean. Yeah.
Can you
I
talk
also,
about that?
and it's not only when I'm mad, it's if I'm explaining anything.
Yes.
So, and I've like, especially like people who feel comfortable like telling me when I'm like acting a certain way, I'll notice that like if I'm talking about a subject that I know a lot about and I can tell them in clear NT clearness, which is my blast is NT, then I come across as like almost like yelly kind of like it sounds like I'm being really aggressive. And in my head I'm not being aggressive, but it comes across as that way, like very strongly. I've heard.
Yeah.
I haven't caught myself on video being a blaster yet. Actually, there is a video of me that I saw once where I was like, well, that's just stupid or something like that. But yeah, so I'm very direct and very aggressive. And it's super weird then because it's also like I don't do it that much. So when it comes out, I'm like, Emma. And if I notice it, I notice that TE bite. I'm like, oh my God, what's happened to me? And I like, I get mad at myself. But
You shock yourself.
yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, when I'm being really, really mean, I shock myself. But
Now,
yeah.
on the opposite side of that, you have
hmm
double feminine consume. So what is that like? What's double
I
feminine?
mean, I don't know. I think I like to consume a lot of stuff, and I'm not really super picky about what I consume. I'm picky about what's my favorite that I consume. But I mean, I'm just like an open person. I feel like I'm pretty open to whatever. So yeah, open to different people's opinions. I mean, I don't like, yeah, I'm pretty upfront, non-judgmental.
I think my girlfriend has the same animal stack as you, and I
Yeah.
think she has I think she also has double masculine blast. And so
Okay.
when she goes to work,
Mm.
she pisses off a lot of people
Oh.
when she gets
Oh.
upset when that double masculine
Mm.
blast comes out, and she actually
Yeah.
scares them too because it's so powerful, right?
Oh yeah.
Like it's like a hawk like. But then when it comes to like consuming, I see her like doing the most
Mhm.
random stuff. Like she'll be on
Oh
Instagram
yeah.
1 minute, like watching so many
Yeah.
different shows, and it's so
Oh
chaotic,
yeah.
right? So like I'm
Oh yeah.
wondering, does that happen to you? Like
Oh yeah. Well, also like, and my interests aren't like in like one like if like we have a circle of interests, mine aren't like in one direction. It's like all over the map, and just like I happen to fall upon something one time, and now I'm interested in this. Like honestly, personality doesn't make sense with the rest of my interests. Like why I'm interested in this, I don't have any idea. It doesn't make sense with anything else I've been interested in my entire life.
yeah.
I am for some reason because I happened upon it once and it hit my affine somehow. Who knows? It's a mystery. But yeah, they're all weird. I'm doing a bunch of different things at once. I also fall into like moods of certain genres of interest. So I'll be like into like darker, moodier stuff for like a week, and then the next week I'm like, oh, comedy, fun, make
Yeah.
me laugh, whatever. So yeah, it's pretty chaotic in what I
So
am
like
consuming
there's
at any
almost like a
moment.
wave. Like I feel
Yeah.
like you're almost seeking like a range of emotion, like
Oh
one.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
especially
Well, yeah. No, I was just gonna say that I feel like generally what I'm seeking is like some kind of feeling of emotion inside myself. I'm either seeking to feel like I'm seeking to feel a certain emotion or find a new emotion when I am consuming. I want to feel something different and new and nuanced.
it seems to me like your feminine FI or people with feminine
hmm
FI in general, it like
Yeah.
you almost find like from what I can see right now, just talking to you, like you
Yeah.
almost find emotion as like your entertainment, like for example,
hmm
like this week it's dark week, it's all gonna be
Yeah.
all dark stuff, and the next week is gonna like sad, like I'm gonna watch chick flicks, I'm gonna cry a lot,
Right.
and then like the
Yeah.
following week it's gonna be comedy, I'm gonna be laughing my ass
hmm
off. And
hmm
next week maybe it's gonna be like action, I want to be excited, adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Does
Yes.
that sound about
Yes.
right?
That's exactly right. And I've never looked at it that way, but yes, that is actually what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
totally.
That's so interesting. I see now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes total sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you've described me perfectly.
Okay.
It feels
Cool. Yeah.
good.
No, that's good. Good to help with understanding how this works. I was just using my NE. Like connecting.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing. Andy astonishes me. Yeah, that was great.
yeah. Um. No, that's super cool. What about What about feminine SE? What's that like to have feminine
I
SE?
don't know. I mean, again, I think it's just like I think it's the same kind of thing where I am not necessarily like grouping things together at all in my sensory world, which I guess is just SE though. And I don't know, I have like a lot of sensory all the time around me. Like if I looked at it, if I was to make like a image in my head, it would just be like all these little points just kind of floating around everywhere, and without really any interrelation. And I'd have to really work to make a map of how all the SE I've collected in my mind is actually connected. Like it would take forever because it's all so bizarre and all over the map.
I see.
I think that's what I feel like. I don't know though. I feel like it's really hard to really describe your first functions to people because they're so just like, I don't know. It feels so normal. So it's like, how do I compare this to other stuff?
Well,
That's how I see it. So I don't know.
Well, I think FI is very easy to describe, but
Yeah,
I think SE is,
that's true.
I think SE and NE is more like difficult to describe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find any, I'm like, I'm like, oh my God. Like when I hear a good, I'm like, oh, that's a great description. And then I'm like, oh, I don't understand. Like a minute later. But SE, the only way I see SE is just through like looking at, for me, it's looking at things. So I will go out into the world and I will just look at stuff, and I will just look at other stuff. And it's not, I don't like to buy stuff necessarily, but I like to look at stuff a lot.
So,
and that's how it works for me.
you live in Spain right now, right?
Yeah.
Is it for work, or you're just traveling, or what are you doing there in Spain?
I'm working as a teacher in a primary school, an English teacher.
Oh, okay. Is that like a 1-year work arrangement?
It's a 1-year program, and I just go in and I help them study for their like big English test, and I help them get like a little bit better English with like culture and grammar and pronunciation.
Primary, that's like kindergarten then, or?
No. It's I work with 1st through 6th.
Okay.
And I work mainly with 6th graders and 4th graders.
I see.
So they're pretty sweet. 4th grade is the best age to work with. They're not mean yet. 6th grade, it's like a little hormonal, but other than that, they're pretty nice.
Well, the females at least.
Yeah. Oh my God, the boys though are so, oh my God. Especially now. It's like they're hitting that, like they're getting old. Oh, I don't know. It's the worst part of the year. They're about to leave the school. They feel like they're old, and oh my God, it's too much.
Too much attitude.
Yeah. Too much attitude, too much drama between everyone. It's like, oh, I would hate to go back to middle school. It would be the worst.
Yeah. That, you know what? That's so interesting that you're working as a teacher, as an IP. But
oh yeah.
But I
don't want to be a teacher long term. Oh. This is just like I want to live in Spain. This is the best way to do that. It's the easiest way to get here. Yeah, I'm not trying to be a teacher. That's not my end goal.
What is your career aspirations then?
Well, I don't really know. I'm trying to still figure out what my real like needs are for a career. And I'm kind of trying to take this year to like really hone that down. But I don't know. All I know is that I can't work in a super, super, super structured environment. I would hate to be a teacher. One of the main reasons is because having to deal with parents, and parents trying to like impose what they want on you for their kid. When I'm like, I have to work with all these kids. I can't have yours particular, whatever.
So,
and I couldn't deal with that. But I want to work with people, though, is the other thing. I want to work with people because I like people. So it needs to be like but I can't be too chaotic an environment because then I'll be overwhelmed and I won't know what to do. So I need a little bit of structure, but not too much. I need people, and but I also need to be able to work alone sometimes. Like I need to have a supportive group that I'm with. But I don't think I would like to be like a freelance kind of person, because I think I would not like to have no ping from anyone else ever. I want a little bit of like, do you think this is good? And they're like, yeah, that's great. And then I go ahead. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to like figure out what careers fit into that. And then I'm like, that sounds good.
All right.
So I'm going to, I'll get back to you in a year when I try out the first few things and see what happens. I don't know.
So 2 thoughts that came to my mind based on
okay.
So the first one is, it seems to me that the parents are more of a nightmare than the kids. Like,
oh yeah. Oh, of course. But everyone thinks that. Yeah. Parents are a nightmare times 10. Yeah. Yeah.
You probably, like, if you have a troubled kid, it's probably because of their parents' fault, like.
Oh yeah. That too. Yeah. The parents are, yeah, they're just bad for all the reasons. Yeah. Yeah. You can blame everything on them. Yeah.
Don't mess up your kids. That's
Yeah.
like if you become a parent. And then number two,
Yeah.
it sounds to me like as a career, you want to work in a place where like your boss will go to you, give you like a checklist of things to do, and then leave you alone to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll have like some creative, like a, yeah, like, you know, like, oh, I want this as my goal. And then however you get there, that works great. And then, yeah, that would be ideal. So just like, what kind of job is that a thing? I don't know. I'll have to
So, like
see what
someone has
that
to go up
is
to you and be like,
and what I'm good at too.
like Emma, this is the result we're looking for.
Right.
This is the deadline.
Yeah.
How you want to do it, it's up to you. But
Sure.
this
Yeah.
is what you need to produce. All right.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna check up with us once to show us your
Yeah.
graph at this date and go.
Sure.
Like, do you feel good with that kind of like that kind of position?
Well, I mean, I already felt anxiety when you were like, I need it by this date or whatever. But
Yeah.
apart from that, yeah, it sounds good. Like I'm gonna have to make some kind of, you know, and also part of it is I have to grow as a person. So maybe I should throw myself into like a super, super structured environment where there are tons of deadlines, and then I'll grow like mad. Like I'll be like a mad growth person, and it'll be amazing. I'll be perfect. But that's also what's hard is I'm trying, you know, I don't want to just only work my saviors, but that is tempting. But yeah, that to me sounds pretty nice.
I think when you said you had anxiety over the deadline, I think that was maybe
Yeah.
your fourth function TE getting freaked out.
Oh, yeah.
Like you had to produce something
Yes.
concrete by this date.
Yes. Also blast last. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
blast
Yeah.
that. Yeah. It's like
Start getting started, having a deadline, organizing myself to that deadline. Yeah. And then having to be subject to people's TE reasons why it works or doesn't work.
well, I mean, they gave you the freedom to approach it how you want to approach it, right? So
Right.
that's kind of good, right? Like
So
obviously,
that's great for me. Yeah.
you can't have everything. Obviously, there's still
I
like
can't have everything.
if you work in a, you know, if you work for some kind of business or a company, there is always gonna be a deadline, right? Like you can't avoid that. That's like life, right?
Of course. That's life.
Yeah, that's just life.
Yeah.
So
and just got to grow up is all. Yeah.
we all got to grow up and meet the
yeah,
deadline.
exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And I think like, I forgot who said this, but maybe it was Dave, but it was definitely like one of the things that I heard someone say recently was like, if you don't control yourself, someone else will control you, you know?
Yeah.
So you might as well, you know, produce that deadline for yourself, or otherwise someone's going to be breathing down your neck, micromanaging you to produce that deadline. But if you're always on top of things, no one's going to bug you, right? Like it's
right.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. It totally makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
just gotta do it.
Yeah. So like
We'll
as an IT, if you want people to get off your back and then just get it done.
All I do is, I just have to TE and NI more, but you know, it's so hard.
It's such a paradox, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it is such a paradox. It's all in my control. I just am not doing it.
Because like your fourth function is TE, right? So that's your tribe, right? So if you don't want the tribe to bug you, you need to use your NIT, your blast, your fourth animal to get them to back off. But then they're both equally bad. So like, what is
right?
Like,
no, it's so real. Yeah, it's real, man.
it's like a paradox.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Emma, we're gonna wrap up the interview pretty soon. I have a final question for you. So first one, do you have any message to any IPs out there who you know might be struggling to either use their blast or might be struggling dealing with the tribe? Because I don't think your tribe issues is as bad as other IPs. So I think you.
Oh, really?
It's just talking to you. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would say is like with Blast, the best thing to do that, I mean, I've been posting a ton in my Blast last group. It's a small group of people. And all I do is I go on like almost every week and I put a little video out. And it's really hard to do, but it's getting much easier to speak in public, and it's getting much easier. I'm starting to get more comfortable trying to organize my thoughts in front of people. So I would say just practice Blast and in like a low stakes environment. And like blast about things. I would say the good thing is blast things that aren't really, really important to you. So you don't get freaked out when someone says what you're saying is, you know, doesn't make sense or something. You know, I would do that. And then with respect to like TE last, honestly, I'm still working on it. I just feel like I have to go out into the world and like someone told me recently, who was it? I think it was Alan. He said that the best thing to do is just ask people what they want from you. And that will help you learn how to TE better. All I have to do is ask. And it's sometimes really hard to ask, but from now I'm gonna try, be like, what can I do to make you happy?
Yeah.
And some people aren't gonna tell you, of course, because people don't always do that. But I think that was good advice. It seems kind of like, because I wouldn't tell people what I really want. I would beat around the bush. But other people probably will tell me if I ask them. So I would say that. Just practice and go out in the real world and try and TE. So I don't know.
I
That's
think
my
people,
only
I think people will actually be very happy if you ask them what they wanted, because that's
Yeah.
such a nice gesture, right? Like if someone goes up to you,
Right.
hey Emma, what do you want? Or what do you
Yeah.
like? Like you're like, oh, you
Yeah.
want to know what I like? Like it feels nice, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
uh, you know, um,
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was a good piece of advice, and I'm gonna try and use it more.
yeah,
How can
and then,
I make you happy, kind of
yeah,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually good advice for IPs to kind of practice.
Absolutely.
Just ask them
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
And
because we don't know like intuitively like what the tribe wants, because
yeah,
we've just focused on ourselves for so long. So,
right.
and not everyone's like us is also hard to grasp onto. So you really just have to ask sometimes. Ask for help.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what I find really interesting though is like I find
Mm.
IPs are actually very empathetic.
Yeah.
Like
And yeah.
because like for example, like EJs are better with sympathy. Like they know how to like let's say
Hmm.
someone's feeling bad, they know how to like comfort them
Mm.
almost. Like
Sure.
don't feel bad, blah blah. And then like they're
Right.
so good at it, like it's almost like magic. And while like maybe the IP would
Right.
feel like awkward how to like comfort this person, but like
Totally.
if someone's going through a hard time in their life and they tell the
Oh
IP
yeah.
what's going on with their life, then I can see the IP kind of like putting themselves in that person's shoes and like, okay,
Yeah.
I know how you feel, it doesn't feel good. So it's like,
Yeah. That feels very true to me. Yeah.
yeah,
It's absolutely true.
like
Yeah.
the difference between empathy and sympathy then, right? Like it's
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah. Yeah. Super different. Yeah. Yeah. And also, yeah, and in a way, sympathy is more um effective in the outside worlds because you get more of that kind of pity thing, which is kind of annoying. But when someone pities you, they're more likely to help you out. You know what I mean? Whereas if I'm empathizing with you, it's just I'm kind of sitting there, I'm like, I feel you. And then it's like, well, what do we do from here? I don't know. I'm just feeling what you're feeling, you
Yeah.
know? So you don't get that outside perspective. You just feel it.
Well, I think if you
It's
go to
cool though.
someone,
It's nice. It's nice to be connected to people in that way, but it
I,
has its downsides.
I think when you say that line, like I feel you, I think you build a better connection with someone because like you
Hmm.
both know
Oh yeah.
what's happening.
Oh yeah.
With the sympathy thing, like I know how to use it, but
Yeah.
like, it's not my preference. I have FI
Yeah.
like you, right? So,
Yeah.
but I did experiment a few times with like some EJ coworkers or some bosses that I've had. Like I just said,
Yeah.
okay, this sounds so lame, but I'm gonna go say a sympathetic word. Like so someone was complaining to me about something that happened to them. I'm like, oh, I'm so
Okay.
sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But like inside, I don't really feel bad for them. But like,
Right. Yeah.
but like
But see what, yeah.
outside, I'm like, but let's see what would happen. It's like, oh, I'm so sorry to hear
Yeah.
that. And like I said the right things, the right tone,
Right.
and everything. And you're like, oh,
Yes.
thank you so much. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's so fake. Like I was dying inside.
Yeah. I
Like
know. Yeah.
it's so
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
inauthentic about it,
It feels really cold or something, when you
Yeah,
do
it
that.
feels cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But people recognize it better as you being there with them
yeah,
versus you just like feeling it. Yeah.
yeah, that's so weird, eh? I don't know.
It's so weird, but it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Gotta get the lingo, the DE lingo. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Now you can practice that too.
Exactly. Yeah. I've got my list of stuff to practice, and that's not going on it now.
I can see you putting in your hands.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear
I'm so
that.
sorry. That sounds terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah. Got my script with me
yeah,
all the time.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh no, I smudged it by accident. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and then feminine sensory.
yeah. Do you have any questions to me about functions that you don't understand that I have that you don't have? So I have NE and SI.
Yeah.
And you don't have those ones. So do you have questions
Right.
about those ones?
Well, I mean, I probably have endless questions to be honest, but I mean, it would be cool if you could give me like your little NE SI how they work together snapshot, because SE and I to me makes intuitive sense. You gather the facts and then you make a theory. How does it work? Does SI only work with a few specific facts and then you use those to make all these ideas? And how do you take ideas and then narrow down to SI? That's what I don't understand.
SI is,
Yeah.
it's like an ingredient, like if you're cooking,
Mm-hmm.
you need to follow the cooking direction step by step. Otherwise the food won't taste the same, right?
Sure.
So it's kind of like the same with life. Like if you want to produce a certain result, then you need to do it in a specific step, right? So I find that with my NE, I read tons of books. Distill all the ideas I get from the book, and I write it down on like a notepad. So it's like like the act of taking notes is SI almost, right? Like I'm archiving the facts that I've gathered from all the information I distilled, and kind of like figure out, okay, how can I organize all these ideas that I have so that you can follow it step by step and produce a specific result, Like it's almost like NE and then SI and then TE, right? Because TE is producing the result afterwards. So NI is like gathering the information, and then SI is like me taking notes and organizing the notes so that it's in a specific order. So that if I were to present those notes to someone and they followed it, they can produce a similar result as me, because they can if they just follow the exact same steps as the SI.
Right. But the result was first, like you first conceived of the result in your NE land, and then
So I got the whole story. Like, let's say I'm reading a book. Right? So let's say the book is like a marketing book, like how to, I don't know, execute a marketing campaign that can help you earn $1,000 per month, right?
Yeah.
I would read ideas in the book, and then, maybe I would.
You would pinpoint the most important facts to make your guide.
Yeah, and then I would write down the steps on a piece of paper, and then I would use my TE to execute on those facts, right? And then after I get because they all kind of work together, right? So after I get the result from executing, I go back to my SI and write down which one actually worked and which one did not, and I can make an ingredients list of which one works and which one did not.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So then how do you go out and gather your NE ideas? Because from what I've heard, it's not necessarily always like getting it from other people or other sources, outside sources, that you can kind of gather from within yourself. Is that true?
I did it earlier. I was taking a shower.
Yeah. Okay.
And I created a story arc.
Yes.
Or so it's gonna be so funny. I'm not gonna tell you anything about it right now.
Okay.
So, but I'll give you a brief idea. So Dave and Shan was David specifically, when he was when I did a coaching call with him, we're talking about finding your niche in when making videos, right? So it's kind of like with writing, you have to find your voice, right? So kind of like right now I'm making a lot of videos, but I'm trying to figure out my quote unquote my voice, right? What is my thing? And I was taking a shower earlier, and I just had this huge light bulb in my head while I was taking a bath. And I was like, oh my God, because I was gonna make a video on what I think op should add as a cross check.
Okay.
But while I was thinking about what kind of cross check that I think they should add, I came up with a hilarious skit in my head of how I was gonna present it. So it's gonna be comedic.
Okay. Yes. Oh my gosh.
And it's gonna be extremely double decider two things that's talking to each other. And I already created the script of what they're gonna say to each other.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I even have the punchline of to make it funny. And it came out of nowhere, literally. I just made it up with my.
Oh my God! Yeah, it just kind of popped in. Yeah.
The story arc came out of nowhere. It just no one told me this. I didn't read it from a book. It just came out of nowhere.
Wild. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna put it together and publish it. I'll try to publish it in May. I'll send you the link.
Okay. Yeah. Please.
It's gonna be very imaginative, very NE right. So.
Oh, great! Yeah.
So we'll see how people perceive it as, but we'll
okay.
See.
I'm excited for it. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, that's kind of how NE would work internally. Because externally, I
Okay.
would just read a lot of books or watch a lot of videos, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah, sure.
But like
Internally, just kind of like something maybe triggers it that you don't really necessarily have like a full grasp on. Like
okay,
it's just like
like
bam, and then
uh,
it kind of like a thing
yeah.
happens.
Well, I'll give you another example of NE. So earlier when you were telling me stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whenever you told me stuff, whatever you were telling me produced two more questions in my head.
Yeah.
Like there are three more questions. I'm like, okay, whatever you said produce. So every time you say something, it links to more questions, and then to more
Right.
questions, and then to more questions, and then I need to
Right.
find an answer to those questions. And like,
Mm.
it's like I'm anticipating the
Right.
future, right? Like NE is about the
Yeah.
future, right? So I see
Sure.
the
Yeah.
future, but I need
Yeah.
I need a solution for the future,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So, and
Yeah.
like, do I solve the future in an FI way, or do I solve that future in an TE way? You know?
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You've got the
FI,
options.
right? And then
Yeah.
if I solve it in an FI way, then it's more
Yeah.
more comedic. Like it's more like
Oh.
a story. Like
Yeah.
I'm creating a story. It has nothing to do with logic. It's a story. Like
Huh.
I'm creating
Okay.
with
Yeah.
with characters, and they have they have
Oh,
different
wild.
behaviors, different voice, different appearance.
Yeah.
But if it's PE, then it's more like,
Yeah.
how do I plan and execute it? So it's so different, right?
Wow. Yes, that is. What are your modalities? Do you know what your modalities are? Because you haven't been
Consuming.
officially typed, right? Do you know? Are you? Do you know?
I'll tell you my self type, and I'll tell you what
Okay.
Dave and Shan's
Okay.
unofficial
Okay.
type.
Perfect. I feel it. Okay. Great.
So Dave and Shan
Yeah.
told me this in person when I met her in Seattle, and
Oh.
Dave
Nice.
also told me this also when I met him in
Yeah.
person in Seattle, and also when I did
Okay.
coaching call with Dave.
Okay.
They definitely think I have sleep last. That one
Okay.
is that one they
Just a
definitely
go. Yeah.
yeah. They think my blast is demon,
Okay.
but they think I'm play, consume,
Okay.
blast, sleep.
Okay.
And I think Dave thinks I'm similar to Phil DeFranco. Do you remember his video?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, but my self type is not. It's a little bit off from them. My self typing is
Okay.
consume, play,
Oh.
blast, sleep.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't feel like I'm tribe above self. I feel like I'm very selfish.
Right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I try to look at like my SI to dig through my past and look and like kind of
Okay.
observe my behavior.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
they always talk about like, if you had a timer and if you log in a time of you doing things for yourself versus doing things for a
Right.
tribe, 100%. I never kill for myself for my tribe. I never.
Yeah.
I would if there's like a decision between, like, let's say I try to make it win-win, but
Right.
if we come to
But you're first.
if there's a cross, no, I mean, like, if there's like a pathway where they're like,
Yeah.
someone has to lose.
Yeah.
Like we've literally exhausted every single option available out there.
Right.
Come up with a win-win
Right.
solution. Someone has
Yeah.
to lose.
Right.
I'm not gonna lose. You're gonna lose.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
take. I'm gonna be
Sure.
the taker here. So
Okay. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
so so that's kind of like where I saw that. So
Okay.
like I said, I haven't been officially typed yet, so maybe I should
Yeah.
send in something. But like, like earlier when I was thinking of the story arc for
Yeah.
the video I want to produce, I was actually thinking of Seth MacFarlane,
Yeah.
the Family Guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I was thinking about my idea,
Yeah.
I was putting it together. I was like, oh my god, it's very Seth MacFarlane like. So maybe I'm more like him.
Oh.
So
Yeah,
maybe,
because isn't he like any? Isn't he tribe of self? I can't remember.
is he?
What
Or
is he
maybe
listed as?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know. I haven't seen the
Oh.
docs on him. They haven't done
Okay.
typing for him.
Maybe I made that up. I don't know. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, but they did say he was an ENFP. So
Yeah.
and he's older.
Oh, maybe he's not then. Yeah. Okay. Maybe he is.
But
He's NEFI
but
then.
I don't know. I have no idea what he is. But like the ideas
Yeah.
I came up with were very similar to him. So that's
Yeah.
that's why when I was sitting there, kind of like thinking of these ideas, like this story idea, like when I was writing the script, I was like, it's not like the way he tells his jokes, but there's like a huge, obvious similarity to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of like what I was thinking in my head.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, he'd be a cool type twin.
I'd love for them
Yeah.
to type him and see what he is.
Yeah. I wonder if I can. I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere in one of the docs in some place. So I'll look for it again.
Yeah,
Let you know.
You've seen Family Guy, right?
Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah.
You see the kind of humor they have, right? Like
Yeah. Totally. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
like the super any humor. Like they'll be talking 1 second and they'll have like a random clip, and then
Yeah.
like a random.
Totally. Yeah.
That's so NE right there.
Yeah. Super. Yeah. Very much. And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
All
yeah,
right.
he's an interesting guy. Yeah. Yeah, super any. Yeah, really cool. And the reason I asked was because I was gonna ask, when you what was I gonna ask? When you are like making like a story in your head, are you visualizing it, or is it, or like how does that work? Are you like seeing it like play out in your head, like the characters, you see them like doing their thing? Or is it more like or it's just kind of like, I don't know, you feel it or something. I don't know how that would work.
It's always a conversation.
Oh, it's a conversation. Okay, always a
It's
conversation.
it's always a
That's
conversation,
cool.
and I have like I said, I have like the script of like what they're gonna say to each
Yeah,
other,
right. Yeah,
and
yeah,
like how the other person's gonna react,
yeah,
and like I, it's so funny. Like I was like
yeah,
self amusing myself when I was thinking about it. I was like,
yeah,
okay, I'm gonna make this one character EJ, and I'm gonna make this one
yeah.
character IP.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah, you put in the yeah.
EJ's gonna do this, and like like Seth MacFarlane likes to make things really inappropriate and offensive.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna do it that way because I like really offensive
Yeah,
jokes. Like
yeah, okay.
you know,
Okay, yeah.
like
Yeah.
people get upset, then so be it.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Delve deciding to hell. Yeah, love it.
yeah. Like so,
Yeah,
that's kind of like what I was thinking when I was like putting
yeah,
the storyline
yeah.
together. So I
Oh
was
my
like,
god.
like
Yeah.
you know,
Cool, cool, cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is like universal for people with NE,
Mm,
for people with just FI in general, but
okay.
in my opinion, I think it's an FI thing.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
I think the way you tell a story is different. So like if let's say for you you're
Mm.
an SE, then the way you tell a story is gonna be different from someone that has NE. Like
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
yeah. But like
Probably much less funny. Yeah.
well, maybe
Or
I don't,
just yeah. Well, I think that when I've noticed that when I tell a story, it's just I try and I give you everything so that you can see it happen.
yeah.
It's like way more information than you could possibly need, you know, to
Well, like
understand.
I can see people with like masculine SE if they were to create like a
Yeah,
story, it would be a
yeah.
very like slapstick story, like
Oh yeah, yeah,
someone like falling down and hitting their face, right, and starts laughing at it.
yeah. Yes, more of like a physical humor kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then, like, I don't find those funny. Like I watch those, I'm like, what?
yeah.
This is not funny.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But like like my kind of humor is more like like
Yeah.
really random, like
Yeah.
you know.
Or like more like cerebral stuff. You know what I mean? Like that's I mean, I feel like there's like, there's two kind of branches of comedy. You've got the one that's much more like of like a physical thing where you're doing like weird whatever with your body, with your whatever. And then there's the comedy that's more like, talking comedy where
Yeah,
you're using your head to give people like to help them like see it themselves. You're not showing them, you're like showing them via their minds kind of thing.
well, I mean,
You know?
have you seen South Park? I don't know if you watch the cartoon South Park.
Kind of. I've seen it sometimes. Yeah, I haven't like watched it or anything. But yeah, I'd like know about it. Yeah.
Like, do you like it or dislike it?
I haven't seen enough to say if I like it or don't like it.
Okay,
I couldn't say. Yeah.
so the creators of South Park, I don't know their
Yeah.
exact type, but someone told me they're INTJ and ENTP,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a very like strong T kind of like humor, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But then like when
I
you
can see
watch
that.
when you watch the show,
Yeah.
they almost use a lot of like slapstick humor
Oh,
on the
okay. Yeah.
surface,
Yeah.
But
Yes.
if you go deep into the surface layer,
Right.
there's like a
Yeah.
super deep
Yeah.
underlying meaning to what they're trying
Mm,
to point out.
okay.
You
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they've got levels. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
probably what the really good stuff has both, good comedy would probably have.
right.
Like really, yeah, you'd have
My
some
my
kind of
girlfriend hates South Park because she doesn't get the jokes. She,
Oh,
she just thinks they're annoying,
okay.
right?
Yeah, okay,
But
yeah.
like, then I watch it. I think it's so funny. But then she watches like
Yeah.
like those like like old school TV shows like Full House and all that stuff, and
Oh, yeah.
she thinks they're hilarious, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, they're not funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't have like a pattern for the what shows I do find funny, what shows
yeah,
I don't find funny.
yeah,
Like I've never been like a Full House kind of person.
yeah.
But I mean, what is an old show that I do enjoy? I'm sure there is one I could think of that, I don't know, but I don't know what that is. Because yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. But
Yeah.
it is, comedy's a fun thing to. You could probably do a lot of this OP stuff looking at comedy.
Yeah, it's possible. It'll
Probably.
be super hilarious, probably.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Def.
Um, Emma, thanks for doing the interview today.
Oh yeah,
Really
sure.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, super fun talking to you.
Thanks.
And
Same here.
I'm gonna go hit the pause button now, and then
Okay.
I'll say goodbye to everyone. So bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks, Emma, again. So,
Thank you.
all right.